Hi, I am Jan-Philipp Martini and I am a consultant at the Boston Consulting Group focusing on agile transformations. I'm also a co-founder of BCG's mindfulness community. You might recognize this situation. You just gave a comment to a coworker and you might have been a little bit moody or aggressive, and you're regretting that you made that comment for many hours or days. It's very hard to get that comment or that thought out of your mind. If you are familiar to such a situation, then this training is perfect. And I'm happy that you're joining. In this training, we are talking about acceptance, one of the 3 foundational capabilities of mindfulness, besides attention and awareness. Acceptance is about letting thoughts and emotions come and go without pushing or pulling them. Mindfulness is not just another improvement tool. Of course, mindfulness is improving a lot of cognitive capabilities. It increases executive control by 15%. It reduces stress by 25%, increases creativity by 22%, and improves collective intelligence of teams by 13%, according to a recent study. But these are mere side effects. Mindfulness, if it would just be a self-improvement tool, it would create a lot of tensions in ourselves. It's just another thing that's between yourself and who you should be. So this is where acceptance comes in. In my perspective, the most important element of mindfulness, as it is what makes mindfulness not a self-improvement tool. Mindfulness is also not making you happy. That sounds a little bit disappointing. But I mean that in terms of it doesn't increase the pleasant experiences you're having, but it helps you to be okay with whatever experience, either pleasant or unpleasant, you are experiencing. And this is very different to the traditionally held belief that in order to be successful or happy, you should increase the pleasant experiences and decrease the unpleasant experiences. But that is almost like saying you are keeping the mountains and you're getting rid of the valleys. Happiness and sadness, a pleasant and an unpleasant experience, traditionally held, is more like 2 sides of the same coin. The one doesn't exist without the other. A colleague recently asked me, how do I measure the success of my mindfulness practice? And I shared with him that acceptance is actually the only measure of success of his mindfulness practice. The only way to know if your practice is supporting or continuing to support you or not. Actually, it always supports you as long as you just are okay with whatever happens in your mindfulness practice. Or in other words, the success of your mindfulness practice is not determined by the state you are in before, during, or after the meditation, but rather it is if you surrender fully to whatever experience or state you are having in your meditation or mindfulness practice. So let's practice acceptance. We are now doing a few minutes meditation practice together, and it would be great if you would join and if you would invest your time in this. The way you practice acceptance is by catching yourself whenever you feel aversion or intense attraction to something, before this attraction or aversion becomes grasping or negativity. In other words, you are observing something very subtle within yourself. We are taking the breath for now. And whenever you are finding yourself being distracted by a thought being attracted towards the future, maybe regretting something in the past, whenever you find this thought distracting from your actual intention on focusing on your breath, you go through 4 steps. First, you recognize that the thought is coming in. I'm just thinking about the meal. I imagine what I will make for lunch. Secondly, you are investigating that thought with curiosity. That might be, oh, it's just before 11. That's what I oftentimes do. My mind always jumps to the lunch. Then you're accepting that thought with kindness, that you just were distracted, which is totally okay. It happens all the time to all expert meditators even. And then lastly, you are returning back to your breathing. But let's not just talk about this, let's practice it. So I would invite you for a few-minute meditation. Find a straight but comfortable position on your chair or wherever you're sitting right now. Your legs are ideally not crossed. And take a few deep breaths. Sense how the air is entering through your nostrils and filling your entire belly and chest area. And then sense how the air is flowing out and how your belly and chest is contracting. And now focus on the area wherever you sense the breathing the most. For many people, this is the belly area. If it's difficult to recognize your belly moving in or out, you can also place a hand on your belly. And now, you might also close your eyes if you're comfortable, or just let your gaze rest downwards. Just follow your breathing as you breathe in and out. And after a few seconds, you might find yourself being lost in thoughts or being a little bit distracted. Whatever it is, it's totally normal and we all experience this. So whenever that is happening, let's go through our 4 steps that we just learned. First, we recognize that thought. Oh, interesting. I'm planning ahead for the meeting which is about to come. Second, investigate that thought with curiosity. Okay, planning is happening. This meeting is very important to me. That's why I really want to plan it out in detail. Accepting that you just were distracted from your actual intention on focusing on your breath with kindness. Okay, that's natural that I focus on that meeting. It's a very important one. And then return back to your breathing. And now just let's take another silent minute to breathe together. And then again, thoughts are coming in. You go through the 4 steps. Recognize, investigate, accept, and return. We don't have much more time now, so let's just call this first meditation. So this was just a very simple practice to start practicing acceptance. And I would invite you to practice this whenever you find 5 minutes time. And remember one thing. You will probably never be an expert in acceptance. And this will forever stay a work in progress. I'm so grateful that you joined this training, and I wish you success or acceptance in your practice.